Hey guys, Akhtar here from Reaching Excellence, and in this video I'm going to share with you a powerful case study of an Academy member who went out and did two deals. One deal which was a £1.3 million acquisition, and another deal that was an £8.5 million acquisition, and he did both of these deals within 2 months of joining the Academy, and he did both deals no money down. So in a moment we're going to cut to the interview, so I want you to watch that all the way to the very end, because he's going to give and reveal some really powerful nuggets about how he found the deal, how we went around negotiating, what some of the pitfalls and challenges were, and how he's going to go forwards. And I want you guys to watch that so you can see that it's not just possible for me, not just possible for students in the Academy, but it's also possible for you to do, okay? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of the Reaching Excellence Wealth Academy. I'm the author of the Code Reaching Excellence, which is the missing blueprint for entrepreneurs that helps them to level up and become a top tier 1% entrepreneur so they can build wealth and go live their dream life. Now, for those of you who don't know me, it's my absolute mission to be able to help as many people as I can, every man, every woman who wants to be able to build wealth and live their dream life. So why am I sharing this video? Why am I producing this particular video? Well, one of the biggest problems that people have when it comes to doing M&A deals or these business types of transactions is that they don't quite believe it's possible. When I first started doing these types of deals, and I took this back to my existing property mastermind, sharing this with my students, the first thing they all said is, Akhtar, this seems like it's too good to be true. Well, you know, it's understandable. When there's something that there is a concept that's new that we haven't done before, it's really easy to not believe it's possible or not believe that it's doable. But here I am today, and I want to show you that it's not just possible for me. If it's possible for people like Tom, then it's going to be possible for you, okay? So let's go and jump to that interview right now, and I'll see you in a couple of moments. Hey Tom, welcome and thanks for joining us on this interview. Tom, just wanted to get you to come and just share some of your experiences, because you've just closed a deal which is a £1.3 million acquisition, and you've done this pretty much no money down, which is an amazing thing to do, because a lot of people don't believe this is possible. A lot of people think this is too good to be true. So why don't you talk us through a little bit about your background, and we can kind of go through how you closed the deal, a little bit about the deal and the terms of the deals and some of the ups and downs that you've gone through as you've gone through this. So why don't you give us a little bit about your background, what you currently do right now?
Yeah, good. So good to be on the call with you today. I'm managing director and owner of a scaffold company in South Wales. Turnover around £6 million a year. Working all through the UK, predominantly the M4 corridor and all around sort of London area, down to the southwest, back down into Plymouth, where I spent many a year in the Royal Navy prior to this. So, yeah, and I've been running CAS, our current company, for the last 14 years this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's gone really well, and it's hectic as construction is, but I've got a really good team around me, which I sort of value, and just really keen to sort of grow now through the process of heavily involved with my business coach, which has helped really the last 2 years, especially through the sort of pandemic. And we've certainly come out stronger, and me as an individual definitely come out stronger the other side. And a lot of that's through the sort of the coaching, and the last sort of couple of months working with yourself as well. So
that's amazing, and it's brilliant. I mean, you've done really well as far as construction is concerned. Obviously, scaffolding, you've got a pretty decent operation that's turning over 6 mil. You've got 80 odd people working for you already, which is great. So you've already come from growing something that's pretty successful, and you've also invested in yourself as well, which is great with your business coach and also coming into the academy. So what was it that made you decide to grow by acquisition and actually buy this other company? Because you're in South Wales, but you wanted to buy something up by London. What was the purpose behind doing that?
Well, it's a bit of an eye-opener, because when speaking with my coach, it was kind of one of those things where you read about online or you talk to other people and you always think it's really out of your reach. So you don't actually think that's something you'd ever get onto. And, I often sort of say to people, if I take the time to sit back and assess where I am today, and I think, well, how did I actually get here? How do I have people working for me, and I'm sort of responsible for their families and their well-being, and also then my clients, and I'm controlling £6 million worth, an extensive list of assets and stock. And so I sometimes struggle to answer that question. And then I think, well, how am I ever going to be able to buy another company? And you've got all these sort of aspirations and ideas. So posing that question to my business coach and him saying, oh, well, there is a path and it's not as hard as you think. And now, in a very short space of time, being part of the process and being on the academy, it's really opened my eyes to what actually can be done with a bit of confidence. Firstly, because I think you need confidence to be able to go and have these discussions, but also getting the conversation right and being able to sort of convey what your strengths are to these people, because a lot of them have got good businesses, and there's nothing really wrong with them. It's more the value of me as an individual and what I can bring to them kind of seems to be sealing the deal. And I'm amazed at how quick and how easy the process has been. And also, there's no limit. So where originally I would think, oh, I'm going to buy £1 million company, and I think, oh, well, that's a big sort of ask. Now I've got no fears of sort of looking at 10, 20 million pound companies and just getting around the table, having the same discussions and this, delivering the same message as part of the process, but having the confidence that I know the process is going to work and it's all going to be the same. It's just different numbers.
Absolutely. That's great. So, I mean, the greatest thing there, one of the things that you're saying here, and this is a big thing that happens to a lot of people, that, you've gone and you started a business and you've grown it. And a lot of people think that's the only track to expanding, which is I'm going to go start another business. So to grow by acquisition, it's a little bit of a new concept for some people to get their head around, but then also it's funding the deals. It's like, okay, I'm going to go find a business. I've got to go find £1 million in cash. So one of the greatest things that's happened, I mean, you're recommended by your business coach of this different way of doing things. And it was your business coach that introduced us. And now you come and seen the way that we've done things. That's giving you the confidence and the clarity, and also the language patterns of knowing what to say to actually go out and close this type of deal. So let's talk about this deal, because this is a £1.3 million acquisition. It's another scaffolding company that's, I guess it's on the borders of London, which is also strategic from your perspective. So let's talk about how you've actually structured this deal, because I think this is really, really exciting. I remember the very first time I did a property deal, which was a below market value deal. And I couldn't get my head around it, thinking, why would someone sell their property to me for less than what it was worth? I just couldn't get my head around it. And I couldn't get my head around, well, how could I offer that to someone? And someone who's a more experienced investor said to me, the reason people will sell their property for you for less than what it's worth is because they have to. It's because they're motivated in some way, shape or form. Now, the same thing applies with businesses. Why would someone sell you a business for little to no money down? It's because they're motivated and they want to, or they have to for some reason. So this wasn't a distressed business that you purchased. This is actually a retirement sale. So it's 1.3, off the top of my head, it's about 1.3 valuation. That's for the business, for the assets, goodwill, etc. And I think it makes just shy of 200 grand a year profit. So from what I understand, you've structured that deal pretty much no money down, but it didn't come that easy. It wasn't like you just handed things over. So let's talk about how you actually found the lead first off. Like, how did you actually come across this business for sale?
So basically, the guy, the business owner, was selling a little bit of kit a few years ago. He got recommended. We've got a mutual supplier. And my supplier said, oh, have a chat with Tom. He's in South Wales. He's always looking for materials. And that's kind of how it started. And then he, out of the blue, was selling a little bit more kit. And I sort of dropped in conversation, oh, what's your plans? How come you're selling materials? Is there any reason? And he said, oh, I just really want to get out. I'm burnt out. The sort of typical story you'd expect to hear for someone who's grafted for 30 years. And he said, there's no other reason. He said, I'm just worn out. I've kind of had enough. It's not really about the money. It was just his time. And that was evident in the first initial conversation, that he wasn't, it wasn't a desperation sale or nothing like that. He just seemed worn out, but very proud of his jobs. And every time I've spoke to him, he sort of tells me, what jobs he's doing and how they're going and what sort of rates he's got and all the rest of it. So he's still very excited by it. you can just tell he's worn out and he's got no support around him. Again, quite typical and of that size business compared to sort of where I am. And I invested early doors in my team. And I suppose he chose a different path. So it's very much the buck stops with him, and he's still there at 10 o'clock doing quotes. So that's kind of how the initial part went. And then I said to him, oh, well, send me some financial information over. And obviously at the time then, I'm quite clueless because I'm not part of the academy. I would never bought a business, don't really know. And I just think in my head, oh, well, should I just look at the assets and then offer him some money for that? And trying to sort of mill through it. And I speaking to some friends of mine and other business owners, they don't really know either. So going into the academy was the change really that I needed to give me that confidence and knowledge about how to sort of structure things for me, but also for him, because no one's in the business of going into places and trying to rip people off. And that's certainly not how I work, not how the academy works. It's more about trying to lay everything on the table and be very clear from both sides what we're trying to achieve, what we're offering, and what we want to get out of it. And that's basically how the process kind of works for me, and my understanding of it. And the way it was structured, yes, was something I would have thought probably 6 months ago that you're having a laugh. There's no way that you're going to sit there and actually be that sort of blatant in the way that it sounds initially. And I suppose that's kind of the reaction you get when you speak to people, is they're like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that, but then when it's explained, they actually, they come round to the right way of thinking, and it's logical path. So yeah, it's been really good.
Absolutely. So just to expand on that, a lot of business owners have this expectation that someone's going to come along and write them a check for 1.3 mil. It's a bit wishful thinking. So it's one of the things that we teach, and obviously one of the things you've learned inside the academy and putting this deal together, is what to say, and also a justification for the offer and the terms of the deal. So, from memory, I think this deal was, I think we valued it at 2 times profit plus the value of the equipment, and it had £600,000 worth of cash in the bank. So, you think that a lot of business owners want to take their cash out. You've actually managed to structure this deal in such a way that part of that cash has been left in the deal. So let's just talk about what the actual deal structure is. How much money are you giving the owner on day one? Because you've just completed heads of terms on this now. It's just going through with lawyers. So what's the first payment and what's the payment schedule?
There is 300k on sort of day 1, day 2, after the deal's signed up and gone through.
And that's actually coming out of the cash in the bank.
Yeah, so that's the business's money, which I've now bought. So there's just I think 660k in there. So 300k of that comes across, and then I give it across to the business owner, and then I get the opportunity then to sit within the business as my business, smooth out the edges, which is a bit of a term that I'm using quite a lot lately, and that's just where they're quite rigid in their approach and how they run things. But coming in with my team and the group structure that I've got, we can smooth out those edges, put some processes in that will refine things and be able to sort of increase turnover within year 1, hence dropping in a little bit more of the profit. So by year 2, we're already making more money than what the existing business delivers and a higher turnover. And year 2, then I give another 300k. So we're sort of growing in terms of the money in the bank as well as making the payments, but we're into year 2. And 600k basically that was in the bank is all that we paid out come the end of year 2. But in the background, we've got the increase in profits in order to pay the balance for the years 3 and 4. So that's kind of how it's worked in rough terms, which again, like I said, if that was me, I would have sat there and gone, "Oh, there's just no way in the world that's happening." I just want my 1.3 million. So there's been a lot of sort of conversations back and forth to get to that point. But yeah, he's got an understanding now, and the value isn't just around the money and sort of being able to sell up. It's more about keeping that name and the hard work that's gone on for years and years. keeping that name and seeing it go on into the future as well, with added value of having the new team around him.
Absolutely. So this has been a real great thing, because I think when you were in those negotiations at first, the seller was adamant he wanted all the cash out of the business on day one. So with your negotiation, the stuff that you've learned, you've been able to sell to him not just the fact that you're going to buy the business, but what he has now is your infrastructure from your existing business, which is a bigger business, and you sold him the vision of being part of something a lot bigger, and that's allowed him to have that comfort and that security to do the deal on your terms, which has been great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's going to happen with the existing owner? Because I understand from one of our last conversations, he's going to be working in the business for a little while whilst he sort of hands over, because he's going to go and retire down the line.
Yeah, so basically the first 12 months he's going to sort of remain in his role, but from his point of view, what will happen from day one is we will take a load of pressure off his shoulders because of the admin, the finances, all the things that he doesn't want to do and is worn out of doing. We're going to take away from day one. So we said, okay, he only gets the 300k, which, you know, is still a good amount of money. But what happens is on day one, he also gets a big team around him and a load of support there. So if he wants to, you know, have some more material, he's running low, needs an extra wagon, you know, whatever it may be, will all be at his disposal. So that gives him a little bit of comfort, quite a lot of comfort and relief. And then in year two, then he's going to go down to sort of 3 days a week, take less of a role. And throughout the first year, we'll sort of do our introduction. So I'll be speaking to the clients, I'll be chatting to the boys. We're also going to get a replacement in for the business owner. So he's got a bit more free time to work on the things he enjoys, which is the business development side and bringing some work in. So he can go and chat to clients and do that sort of side of things. And we'll have his replacement already working with the business, but with the business owner being there as well to oversee that transition. And that'll carry on into year two a little bit, but he'll just reduce his days. We'll probably look with the increased turnover of recruiting more scaffolders into the firm, and just steadily grow along on the path. And then by year three, he's pretty much out of the business there if we need him as a consultant, the end of the phone, that type of thing. So yeah, it works well for both, really.
Absolutely, that's amazing. So the value in this business for you isn't just the income, because at the moment it's just under 200 grand and you're going to increase that. You've also got the strategic location of having a site which is close to London for you. So you've got that strategic point. But also, from the conversations we've had, there are larger jobs that come into that company that company can't administer to because they're a bit small. What's that worth to you? What's the real value in this acquisition for you? Because it's more than the 200 grand a year that it makes.
Yeah, so already I've priced probably £750,000 worth of work, which was stuff that was getting just put in the bin, basically.
Wow.
So that's going back to the sort of the group, if you like, and that work can be shared amongst. So the value's probably still to be realised, because it's quite significant, and it could be before we're actually really getting some meat on the bone in terms of, you know, increasing the business that we're buying, that we're already taking, could be £500,000 worth of work into the existing company.
It's amazing.
It's huge, yeah.
That's a really is amazing, because, you know, a lot of times when people are looking at an acquisition, they look at what does the business do, how much money does it make. But, you know, if you're bringing in £750,000 or £500,000 to £750,000 worth of additional business that your existing company can fulfill and deliver, that's like a huge increase, like on overall profits and overall income for the businesses as a whole, which is amazing.
Yeah, it really is, and it's also helping in the way that sometimes within the business that we're talking about buying now, they have periods where they don't have any work. So the guys have to sit at home and the business owner's paying them to sit at home because of his loyalty to them. Well, that won't happen because we'll have the extra work as well, and it'll be in the area they are. So we can cross hire the men, you know, from business to business, and keep those guys happy because they want to work. That's all that we're interested in doing, is working and earning money. So you've got that sort of cross with the brands and the group and everyone being able to sort of help each other out. Plus the benefits for him are within group. We've got design companies, we've got inspection companies, we've got cheaper materials than he'll get anywhere else. And so there's a lot of leverage for that company as well.
Yeah.
To be able to increase profits just by being involved in the larger group.
It's amazing. So you've got the economies of scale as well.
Yeah.
So this is amazing. I'm really happy for you, really excited for you, because see where this is going to go. What are the next steps for you? Like, because you've done this one now, you've got proof of concept, this one's in the pipeline. What shifted in terms of your mindset now that you know that this is possible? You've done a deal, you've got it going through legals at the moment. Like, how's that expanded your mind, and what do you now see that's possible that wasn't possible before?
So last week, I had a phone call to go and meet a fellow business owner, not too far from us, and he said to me, "Oh, I want to sell it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was a bit shocked, to be honest, and not really excited. I thought I was there for some advice, and he said, "Oh, because we're close friends as well," and he said, "Because you've mentioned that you're involved in buying other companies and everything else," he said, "I wanted to give you first refusal." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, how much are you looking at?" And he said, "Oh, 8.5 million. It's been valued at around 10.5. But I'm happy to, for 8.5 million." Well, again, going back 6 months ago, I probably would have fell off my stool at the bar I was talking to him in. However, I sat there with, complete confidence to say, "Yeah, no problem. We'll shake hands on that. I'm more than comfortable. I know the ins and outs of the business. I was involved in it, in its setup anyway." So, it's things like that. And I'm in talks with another company, again, probably half hour from here, who they're a distressed business. And just to give a little bit of a brief on it, not a great deal of turnover, not a great deal of money, but there's some real nuggets of gold within that company because of their accreditations, things that we haven't got and can't really get. And if I wanted the accreditation, it would probably cost me around £500,000 to £1 million to get. That's already sat in this company. And I don't mind saying that the company's £20,000, So it's got, I think, 70 grand's worth of assets in terms of stock. And I'm going to walk away with, 20 grand down on the table, job done. And it was funny because the business owner's son is in the business, and the business owner said to me, who's been ill, to be fair to him, and they've been trading 40 years, so there's a lot to sort of celebrate within the business, but they're in a little bit of dire straits. And he said, "Oh, my son will want to know." He's not interested. He wouldn't get out of the car, wouldn't speak to me, didn't give me any eye contact. Within the last sort of week to 10 days, he's back and forth on WhatsApp. He's engaging. He's talking to me. We're having meetings. He's really excited about the future, and he's going to be the person I'm going to be saying, "Well, you're the son. You're going to do the next 40 years." So, again, going back to the process and the things that I'm learning, going through this initial deal and doing the stuff with the academy, has just elevated my sort of confidence and ability really to go in and talk to a company that's 8.5 million, to a company that's in distress. But it's all the same principles, the same rules apply, the same conversations are happening, and it's just different numbers. So I think I know from this point forward, there's sky's the limit. There's no stopping really to what I want to achieve.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. The process of doing a deal for a small company that might be, it might be a 200 grand company versus, 8, 10, 20 million. The process is exactly the same. It's just a few more numbers. So a lot of people get intimidated by the numbers, but you've got it dialed in. You've got these other opportunities. The world really is your oyster. Sky is the limit. So I'm really excited to see where you're going to go and all the other acquisitions that you've got in your pipeline right now. They'll just become easier and easier and easier, and you're just going to grow and grow and grow. Because a lot of people will be looking at that deal, and if they don't know how to do the stuff that we teach creatively, they'll be thinking, "I'm going to go and raise 8.5 mil." When, as we know, we can do all this stuff on, deferred considerations, and we can get very creative with how we structure those deals. But it sounds like your group is going to grow exponentially, by acquisition and, merging a a company's got accreditation that'd be very difficult to get. That's amazing. So you're not just buying the profit from the business, you're buying accreditation for another business. You're getting more work and leads that are coming through. The group is going to be like, a real powerhouse of a scaffolding construction group. So really excited and really great that you come in and shared this with us, because, it's very exciting for people when they can see this is, a lot of people look at me and go, well, it's right for you to do it. But when they see other people like yourself doing it, it's like, oh, this is possible for me too. Because the biggest challenge is a mindset challenge, which is proof of concept. This sounds too good to be true. Well, yeah, I'm doing it. We've got members of the academy doing it, and people watching this video can do that as well. If there was someone that was watching this video right now and they're sitting on the fence, what advice would you give to them about doing M&A deals like this?
Go along with the process, believe in what's being said. Because from my point of view, sat here today, this is only 2 months in, 2 months within the academy. It's not 2 years. It's not, you've got to invest a load of money and you've got to listen and learn loads of stuff, loads of information. And will it actually happen? There's no nervousness at all. It's kind of, I wish probably at least 2, maybe 3 years ago that I looked into this and carried it out. So if you're on the fence thinking about it, don't waste any more time. And I can't stress enough the sort of confidence and knowledge you will gain in such a short space of time. And that's key to being able to go into any level, whether it's the top end of the scale, and be able to close these deals out. They are there. I did really believe it was something that was a bit of a fine art and it was only for a very select few people. But honestly, I'm not from a highly educated background. I'm just a believer in fate and hard work, and both of those things pay off for me tenfold, year after year. And I think, as I said, if you're sat thinking and wondering, oh, what should I do, and should I sort of crack on and give this a chance, don't second guess it. Just get on and do it, because it 100% works.
Absolutely. And I think, you're absolutely right. It does take hard work. This isn't a get rich quick scheme, but it also isn't rocket science. The key thing I'll say to anyone who's watching this video is the skill set here, really, when it comes to doing these deals, it's 80% psychology, 80% like a relationship building, and it's 20% like legal and accounting. So as long as you can build that connection with people, build the relationships with people, it's pretty easy to do. And we've had lots of other students in the academy that they've closed deals within 2 to 3 months, and we'll be doing further interviews with those. So, Tom, it's been great having you with us. Thanks for sharing your story. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, or they're interested in selling their business to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Email, phone. I'm pretty open, to be honest. I'm on LinkedIn as well. More than happy to share my details with anyone, even if it's a little bit of advice on the other side. And again, if it's on the perch of a business, I'm open. Anything construction wise, I'm pretty much open to anything.
Okay, so if they were to look for you on LinkedIn, where should they go? Is it Tom Gent at Cass?
Yeah, Cass UK, and email address as well. So
yeah, we'll put that in the video so people can contact you. Yeah. Tom, thank you so much for sharing your journey. It's been really inspirational. It's amazing. I'm super excited for you and your group. We'll come back and we'll revert back to you later on when you're further down the line and you've got some more companies in your fold. But hopefully for those guys who are watching, they found this really, really inspirational, and hopefully it lets them know that they can go and do it themselves.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. There was Tom's interview. So if you want to learn how you can go out and do these types of transactions, these types of deals, and you want to go learn more, here's a few things I suggest you do. So first of all, look below this video. You're going to see a link to our M&A masterclass. Go and watch that masterclass, because it gives you the A to Z of how we go out and find deals, how we close deals, and how you can actually go out and make money. Even if you haven't bought a business before, there's lots of ways of monetizing this skill. So go look below this video, go watch that link. And at the end of that masterclass, there'll be an opportunity to jump onto a strategy call with either myself or one of my team members, okay? The other thing you might want to consider doing is joining the academy. Again, link underneath, you can join straight into the academy. You can go and get our online M&A accelerator course. So if you want to go and learn how to do this, you can go do that. There's some freebies that we have if you want to come and join our Facebook group. Again, a link there, lots of resources that are free. And also you might want to get our top tier 1% newsletter. Again, just sign up for that underneath this video, okay? And make sure you like and subscribe so we can send you great content videos like this as soon as they come out. So guys, there you have it. You've seen it in Tom's own words, how you can actually go out and do these types of deal, how easy they are. So go and put this stuff into practice, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.